All right, we're going to be cutting out some spindles this morning. Hello, how's it going? Don't you ever sleep? So we are trying out. Well, basically, I think I'm thinking about retiring getting a new cell phone, and then retiring this one. So this one will actually work with a microphone, so we can have noise reduction. So hopefully the audio sounds better. I also did a little bit of maintenance on the saw too, so it's a little bit quieter. You have insomnia? Yeah, it sucks. Sorry to hear that. Well, I worked nights for quite a few years. I used to work 12-hour shifts. So I worked from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. And that was 3 days a week, 1 week, 4 days a week the next week. So it was a 3-4 schedule. But if you had overtime in there and you only had 1 day in between, it didn't make sense to try to get on a day schedule for a day. So does sound quieter. Yeah. I also have the noise reduction at high, so hopefully it'll be a little bit more pleasant. Oh, I did get the enclosure going. Let's check that out. So it made my A1 Mini into a huge box. It's bigger than the X1 car. But it's kind of nice. It gives you the temperature and the humidity level in there. So it's been coming down. So I'm printing a TPU in there. It's got a little light in the top. So I have the roll drying here, going through the little hole and around. So yeah, this is mud. This is a very old roll of filament, but this is TPU 95A. So if we peek in here, it's printing clean. I really can't complain about. So it's just like it's a tent. There is a port, so you can put an exhaust in there if you need to. But yeah, it's not bad. It's basically a tent. It's got carbon fiber poles that are kind of short, and there's a connector. So you just make a frame, and then you just put the outside plastic in. Yeah. It's pretty sweet. It'll keep the dust off it. So, yeah, I think, it was what, 40 some dollars? That's not so bad. And it also quiets the printer down, so it also reduces the noise. Not that it matters here, but if you had that thing in your bedroom. No lifting. When the print's done, I'll walk over there. It's got, the shape of it. It's got a little arm that sticks out that's pretty narrow, and that's where the lifting was happening. And yeah, it's gone away. Granted, I've only made like 4 spindles, 4 beds, so. Oh, that's good. I did do a full bed, so that's probably, I don't know, around 20 arms, and everything looked good. So today I'm going to be working on these. I'm waiting on an email on a custom spindle that I got to get done. So Vicky's down there staining the top rolls. So I'm going to be bouncing between this and the lathe today. And if it gets too hot, I'll go down and use a scroll saw in the basement. So I got lunch covered. We went to a local pizza shop yesterday. It's kind of a take and bake kind of thing. And they also have subs. So we got a supreme pizza made, and then we have a couple subs that we threw in the refrigerator right away. So we'll have subs today. Pretty pumped about that. Yeah, so yesterday we stopped working a little bit early. It was just a long day. We got the packaging done, went to the post office, and ran errands and stuff. So we stopped a little early, and we're watching Dirk Gently. We're in season 2, so we're almost done with it. But we watched an episode of that, and then I hopped online and placed my order, so we just had to swing through and pick it up. Well, we did not get the staining done. We kind of forgot about it, so she's staining right now, which is actually, it was kind of a blessing, because I did make a couple top rolls this morning for orders, so they're getting stained now. Yeah, and the sanding's just a constant thing. It never stops. I mean, to put things into perspective, those all need sanding, and all of these need sanding. We'll come over here, and all of this stuff here also needs sanding, yeah. So these are sanded. They're just waiting to get laser engraved on the bottom. So from here they get laser engraved, and then they come over here. These get a mineral oil finish, so they get dipped left to dry, and then it'll go from here into rags. Could I use sandblasting? I'm really not sure. The big thing with the sanding is we're also rolling over all the edges. So there's no sharp edges. Everything's rolled over. The sanding isn't too bad because the scroll saw gives you a nice enough finish where sanding goes pretty quick. You know, if I'd throw them in the vibratory tumbler or whatever, you know, it would do a little bit, but you know, I'm using is it walnut shells, so it's not super aggressive. Yeah, because you don't want the yarn to catch on anything. So we have 8 weeks before the next show. So, you know, we're trying to build up 3 shows worth of inventory. So we'll get the cutting done, and then, you know, once they're all made, you know, we could sit there and, you know, sand 40 a day if we need to. Hello, A. Welcome in. Oh, the printer just finished, so let's go check that out. We got some more TPU coming, but... So we are making drop spindles for spinning yarn. So that's what I got left on the turquoise. And then we just got a little bit left there, so I don't think I have enough to make another spindle. It's machine sanding, so you can see that we have good adhesion and no lifting. So if we butt them up against each other, yeah, you see they're sitting square. A little bit of stringing, but this roll of filament has been sitting out for, God, probably a year. So not too bad. That'll take care of that. Yeah, the adhesion is fine. And since it's translucent, you can see the infill. You hold it right. So this is glow in the dark. Yeah, you know, the Bamboo Lab printers weren't bad. You know, as long as you keep up on the maintenance on them, keep them lubricated, they're not too bad. Where these guys were just, they're dialed in now, and that's why they're still there. So when we get into crunch time, we'll just keep going. You know, it's funny, you know, I've been 3D printing for about 10 years now. And yeah, I can, you know, get the enders, you know, dialed in, but I'd rather just, you know, have a printer that kind of works. Yeah. I don't mind being able to see the infill with the translucence. We make a bunch that are solid. Let's see how it fits. So the only bad thing about this setup is I am not able to charge my phone while the microphone is plugged in. Now, I don't know if I could affix a wireless charger to it. You know, one of the main reasons I'm getting rid of this phone is the battery life isn't very good. And I don't want to stick a new battery in it. Hello, Jose. How's it going? Welcome in. You know, it's an iPhone 11, so it's a little bit old. Hey, Steve. How's it going? Welcome in. If you're just joining us, we are making Turkish drop spindles that are used for spinning yarn. So we are cutting 5/8 inch or around 19 mil. This is cherry. Got a bunch of cherry to cut out today. Zoom in a little bit here. I think that'll work. Oh, coffee sounds like a good idea. Who am I kidding? I've had 4 cups of coffee already this morning. I think there might be another cup left in the carafe. So I am using a number 7 blade. This is a number 7 Olson PGT blade, precision ground tooth. So it's a double skip tooth. It's also a reverse tooth blade. So it's a very aggressive blade. So the pattern, we put down blue painter's tape, and then we use spray adhesive to glue the paper pattern onto the tape. That way when I'm done, I just pull the pattern off. That way we don't have any residual glue to deal with. And that way I get a fresh pattern on every single one. So the nice thing about scroll saws are you can make internal cuts. So you drill a hole and then you can put the blade through, clamp it in. Do a test fit. So I'm making sure that these holes are centered to each other. So I'm just sending in. Is that as far back? So I'm just using a rat tail bastard file. So it's got a 1/4 inch diameter. So as long as the file goes through, we're good. Ooh, you got an orange and a poppy seed muffin too? Nice. I do like a good poppy seed muffin. So I make pancakes and I'll put in lemon flavoring, lemon extract, a little bit of vanilla, and then poppy seed. So I'll have lemon poppy seed pancakes. Oh, they're amazing. Sometimes I'll do almond extract instead of vanilla, but yeah, good stuff. Yeah, so we've been making breakfast in the shop. Vicky made eggs, so we had over easy eggs and toast this morning, and some of her sausage that she made. So originally the first batch was chicken. No, the first batch was turkey. This batch was chicken, and the next time she's going to get some pork. We are making Turkish style drop spindles that are used to spin yarn. Hello, welcome in. Are the keys still accounted for? You might want to check. You might want to check when she makes some more and say, guess the flavor, right? Oh, Vicky's got a very non um, delicate taste buds. She's not able to identify flavors very well, which is kind of nice, you know. So this morning, she's like, "Oh, we got water in a pitcher," and I'm like, "Did you filter it?" She's like, "Yeah, I filtered it, but that was with the old filter." I'm like, "Honey, that water tastes horrible," and she's like, "Oh no, it tastes fine." I'm like, "No, no." So we had to like get water out of the filter and do a comparison. I'm like, "Honey, this tastes bad." And the geese are getting huge. I would say in the next week or two, you're not going to be able to decipher the kids from the parents. Yeah, they're growing like weeds. Hello. I'm not going to try slaughtering your name. I'm just going to say N. I'm sure it's not that bad. Hey, Daniel, welcome. So we are making drop spindles. These are Turkish style, and they're used for spinning yarn. So let me grab an example. So that's what they're going to look like when they're done. So basically, it's a flywheel and a shaft. So you get an axle and a flywheel. So I let the cats out this morning. I woke up at about 4 a.m. because, yeah, that's my life. I let the cats out, and all of a sudden I heard a whole bunch of noise outside. There was a Cooper's hawk, aka a chicken hawk, on the tree next to our screened-in porch where the cats were, just screaming at them. I'm pretty sure it's the same juvenile I saw like a couple weeks ago standing in a puddle. I drove like 4 feet away from it and just sat there in a puddle staring at me. So I think the cats are kind of big for the hawk, but kind of surprised he's hanging out, right? I'm kind of surprised he's hanging out there. We got a lot of crows, and you know, crows really don't like hawks all that much. Um, Cooper's hawks are smaller. Um, we also have like lots of red-tailed hawks here, which are larger, and you'll see the crows, you know, harassing them all the time. Flying around on top of them, attacking them. But you know, the hawks will raid their nests too, and you know, eat the eggs and the babies. So You know, it's probably around the same size as a cockatoo. Dimensions are a little bit different on it, but it's not a huge bird. You know, the Cooper's hawk. You could do that with a skill saw. You absolutely could. You could cut out the outsides on a bandsaw too. Yeah, like Falcon sized. You could cut it out with a coping saw if you really wanted to. Hey Cameron, how's it going? Welcome in. So yeah, today's gonna be a pretty laid back day. I mean, we got a couple dozen of these to cut out. Yeah, it was just weird, you know, because that chicken hawk, um, our cat Jordy, he's like 20 pounds. There's no way he would win against that. And Luna's like probably 7 or 8 pounds, so she's kind of on the. I mean, you know, they're known to pick off like kittens, but I think these cats are a little big. But I could be wrong. And this morning, on the way to work, there's a little field, more of a lawn, um, next to a beautician place. So, anyways, this little lawn, there's 5 rabbits bouncing around in there. You know, normally when I walk to work, I usually see 5 or 6 rabbits, but not like in a big group. Hey, Kitty, how's it going? Welcome in. Welcome in. Hope everybody's having a wonderful morning. I muted the stream. I thought I was going to sneeze. So I do have a box fan pointed at my face today, so that's why everything's blowing that way. She is a little warm today in the shop. I think we're hovering at around 80 degrees in here right now. And I hate to be that guy, but it's the humidity that makes it bad. It's not so much the heat, it's the humidity. So, I can see the chat if anybody has any questions. We are making Turkish-style drop spindles that are used to spin yarn. So, this is what came before spinning wheels. Spinning wheels. Not a problem. Yeah, so this is my day job. I've been doing this full time. This is my 13th year. So this channel is, about making stuff. I do some beginner to intermediate scroll saw projects, lathe projects, that kind of stuff. But I figured if I'm working, I might as well live stream. I mean, breaks up the day a little bit. I tried to live stream a couple times a week. I think this is day 3. Yeah, usually a couple hours at a crack. This stream might be a little bit shorter. I am trying out a different telephone. So I can't use the microphone and charge it. So when the battery dies, I think I'm going to be done. Why did I get into this? Pretty much like anything else, a girl. So I was on Etsy. I was making a lot of wooden signs and wooden toys. And one of my friends on Etsy asked if I could make a spindle. And then I wanted to test it and make sure it works. So I learned how to spin, and I fell in love with spinning. It's just like Zen to me. So I only planned on making one, but then I'm like, okay, I like spinning, so I made a couple. And then I wanted to get more fiber, and so I started selling these to kind of support my spinning. And then a couple months after I started selling these on Etsy, I was laid off from my job and decided to try doing this full time. So, yep, so far so good. Hello, Kay. Welcome in. N, welcome in. Sure. Give me 1 second here. We'll go grab one and we'll do some spinning on it. All right. Yep, so these are drop spindles that are used to spin yarn. Yeah, it's what came before spinning wheels. We'll spin some purple because that seems like fun. All right. All right, so this is wool. So this is Cordale. So a sheep got a haircut. They washed it and carded it. This is combed, so all the hairs are in the same direction. So I'm just going to spin a leader to get going. Come up to the top. Yeah, so this is that, is it Dymolux? So that's the impregnated stuff that I just got. So you spin the spindle, and then with my hands I'm drafting. Yeah. So I'm defining the thickness of the yarn and how much twist is going into it. So there we go. Now you're probably saying, this does not look like yarn. This is just a single piece. So normally you would wind it onto the spindle here and then keep adding onto it. I'm just going to quickly ply it so you can see what a 3-ply looks like. So I basically made a slip knot. It's a big crochet loop. So now our single is 3. So we are going to, I was spinning clockwise, so plying I'm going counterclockwise. And then we have cabled yarn. So the next step would be to wet set it, and then it'd be ready to use. So that's it. Add some yarn. Hey, thanks. So a lot of people will start out with a drop spindle rather than a spinning wheel because they're less expensive, they're portable. You don't have a machine with a spinning wheel, with a treadle spinning wheel or electric one. It's gonna, you get momentum going. It's gonna keep going. Where with these, you can kind of pace yourself. I prefer telling people to learn on these before they go to a spinning wheel. So, yeah, spinning is all about drafting, what I was doing with my hands. And it takes practice. You got to build up muscle memory just like anything else. So we should probably swap this blade out. I've been using the same blade for, what, about an hour now? So in the scheme of things, the cherry is it's a hardwood, but it's a softer wood. So I tend to be able to run the blades a little bit longer with cherry. If I was cutting exotic woods or like maple, I'd be swapping out the blade a lot sooner. So yeah, the blade's just held in with clamps on the top and on the bottom. So just a little thumb screw. So I keep my blades in little test tubes. The saw actually has a holder built into it for these test tubes. So I can have a dozen, there you go. I have some over there too. So you can have a dozen different blades in arm's reach. And then I just have a holder. Yeah, you get the idea. To have the rest of the blades in. Sorry, gotta get that. So yeah, I'm making drop spindles right now for making yarn. I definitely have to get some signage up here again. So that's what they look like when they're done. Well, it's not going to be yellow, but yeah, so these are gonna, this one here will have a bunch of laser engraving on the top. I'll laser engrave a design on the top of it. It's this is a Turkish style drop spindle. I have a Turkish rug motif that I put on the top. Kind of jazz it up a little bit. When I was doing a couple shows in when I did the same show for several years in Texas, and I do barbed wire across the top. So to do that, I have a X-Tool S1. So it is a diode laser, but it's got a probe. So you would set it down and you'd probe the whole thing. And then when the laser would go through, it would come and then it would raise itself up. So it would keep it in focus. Because if you have like a curve, if you just throw it on like just a normal CO2 laser engraver, it's going to lose focus. So it's going to be, bigger here and kind of fuzzy, and then in focus here, and then, So, hey Sergio, how's it going? Oh man, this weekend at Harbor Freight, if you spend $29.99, you get a free 5-gallon bucket. What did I get when I bought the bandsaw a week ago? Nothing. Sorry, I just got a notification on my phone. I think last month they were giving away baseball hats. Oh, I bought a different blade for the bandsaw because I want to use it more for resawing, and so I got a big resaw blade on it. Is it 3 teeth per inch? It's pretty gnarly blade. It varies. I do a lot of batch work, so I'll cut out a couple dozen here, and then I'll go make 40 shafts or whatever. I try on a normal day, if nothing's going on and we're not getting ready for a show, I'll do like a dozen a day. We're getting ready. We got 2 months before our next show, so I'll probably make between 20 and 40 a day. As far as cutting them out and making shafts, I'll spend, if my girlfriend works with me, she's actually staining in the basement right now. She does a lot of the sanding, but she also does a lot of the layout work. So, they won't be sanded. And then, a couple times a week, I'll spend a few hours sanding. So it kind of all depends. Hey, Carlos, how's it going? Yeah, the last few days we've been working on wholesale orders. We got hit with like 3 wholesale orders. So we're getting those made, plus we're building inventory for the shows. Plus we also sell on Etsy, and then we sell on Shopify. So. So what I like to do is I like to have a bunch cut out that are not sanded, because we can do the last portion of the sanding and labeling and finish. That's like the quicker part, so we can get this done. We got 24 of these. It might take us, 2 shows to sell those, Excuse me. I also have a bunch of spindle bowls that I need to turn. We'll see. Yeah, I think I'm going to... Unfortunately, I'm going to have to unplug the microphone here in a little bit. So it's going to get much louder. But my phone is at 23% right now. Something a little different, right? Yeah, so the spindle bowls I'm making are just little square bowls. I don't even think I have one sitting over here. Well, it could be why I need to make some more. Yeah. So I'm going to be turning a couple cherry bowls today too. But so this is a spindle bowl for supported spindles. So you put a spindle in there, and you can spin it. So the ones I'm going to be making are going to be a little bit thicker, but yeah, just little walnut bowls. And then I'm going to make some actual bowl-shaped bowls as well. So, just so we can have a couple price points. So I do burn my scrap. We've got a fireplace at home. So in the winter, I'm in Wisconsin, so we have 4 seasons. which is winter, summer, spring, and pretty much, well, it's pretty much winter, road construction, more road construction, and road construction. That'll work. All right, we're going to lose the microphone. Let's, fingers crossed here. Might get a little loud, guys. I'm sorry. All right, I'm hoping we still have audio. All right, good. We are a quiet bunch today. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying. I think after this one, we're going to run over to the lathe. We are making drop spindles that are used to spin yarn. Yeah, I think a bit of lathe action is called for. We made all those cutouts yesterday. I need to get some shafts on those. Plus all these standards that we made this morning as well. I'm using a number 7. This is a number 7 Olson PGT, Precision Ground Tooth blade. So it's a modified geometry blade, which is a double skip tooth, and it also has reverse teeth on it. So it's a very aggressive blade. But it does cut cherry like butter. I mean, I got a little bit over an hour out of the first blade, so. You know, for that, we were cutting cherry. Now we're going to be turning hard maple. Not sure why my what was I doing over here? My stand is all messed up. Yeah, for some reason, people really like cherry as far as the arm material goes. You think people would be buying, wanting the hard maple, but it's just not the case. All right, I need to move my fan, and I think we're ready to go. Not too bad for switching. All right. Well, it does get a nice patina. It does get much richer in color as it ages. Hello. How are we doing today, Kiki? And I will go over what we're doing in the next one. This is kind of warming up. Alright, there we go. We got an 8-inch shaft. So we made these on stream yesterday, right? So that's ready for sanding and balancing. So yeah, these are hard maples. So when I ordered the doweling, I ordered oversize so I can true it up. None of these are going to be perfectly straight. It's just the way they are. Alright, I'm going to start with my roughing gouge. We're going to bring them down to size. So I'm going to be using this wrench as a caliper. So once that slips over, we're on size. Now you can see I've got some lines drawn on my tool rest. So that's where my taper is going to end. I'm going to set in. We're going to start bringing the diameter down. So now that we're getting closer, I'm going to switch to a spindle gouge. So spindle gouge, roughing gouge. This doesn't take off as much material, but it leaves a better finish. All right, we're just going to hit it with some sandpaper. So basically, that sanding is just sanding that taper there. All right. Why is my phone dying if it's plugged in? All right. So now I'm going to shut the lathe off and put on my test whirl. So I'm going to shut it off while it's still spinning. You can see I got some vibration there. That is too much vibration for an 8-inch shaft. We'll come over here and we'll make it into a 6-inch shaft. So it all depends where that shake is coming from. Wood's a natural material. Not everyone's going to turn out. So I'm going to use a beading tool. It's just a V shape. We're going to come up to the top. We're going to lay out where the finial is. Then we're going to blend those two lines together. So this shaft is a series of tapers. Now we're going to burn in some decorative lines. So I got a piece of wire here. When in doubt, make a garrote. We'll turn the lathe down a little bit and we'll start sanding. So we're starting with the medium grit, moving to a fine grit. Turn the speed back up. We're going to grab some wood chips. We're going to burnish the surface. Think of it like a polish. Take some wax. So now we're done with everything we can do well between centers, which just means it's clamped in on that side. This side has a live center, so there's a pin with a bearing that's spinning. Since it's clamped in on this side, I can cut off the top. And then we'll go through the whole sanding again. Then we'll come to the bottom and we'll cut it off to a point. There we go. Now we got a 6-inch shaft. So, do you spin on these two? I absolutely do. I really enjoy spinning. It's just zen. So I started making these all because of a girl. One of my friends on Etsy. I was making like wooden signs and toys on Etsy for a few years. You know, like stuff like this. And she asked me if I could make her a drop spindle. My aunt and uncle met each other as missionaries in Peru. And Peru is a very spindle spinning place. So there's a lot of textile pictures, you know, and people spinning. And so I knew what spindles were, and I knew how they worked. But yeah, I did not know how to spin. So I made her a spindle, and I wanted to make sure it would work. So I found a local yarn shop who looked at me like it was weird and sent me across the street. And there was a weaving place where they did sell spindles and wheels and that kind of stuff. So they taught me how to spin. Kind of took me under their wing. Introduced me to a bunch of people. Hello, welcome in. So originally, I wasn't planning on selling a whole bunch of them. I planned on selling a few on Etsy, enough so I could get some more roving, some more fiber. And then I got laid off and I decided to try doing it full time. And that was 13 years ago. So I moved from making these out of a bedroom in my house to a commercial space. So, love the space, but you know, the more you expand, the more you have to sell, you know? And I'm primarily a spinner. I like spinning yarn. I prefer spindle spinning, but I do have a few wheels. I'm more likely to spin on spindles and then ply it together on a wheel. Well, I should probably put on my work watch. I am wearing these bad boys. Yeah, let's go grab my watch. Yeah. I'm okay with the watch. I don't wear no rings or anything like that. And, you know, and the hearing protection. Yeah, this at least has a silicone band on it. With all the different woods you use, which would be the one that's hardest to work with? I'm not a big fan of Wenge. It's just very hard. It's hard. It's just, yeah, I don't like it. So let's see. You spin mostly on a wheel, but if you really need to thin stuff like sewing, you use exclusive spindles. Hey, I appreciate it. Do I ship to Europe? Yes, I do. Yeah. So for Europe, I sell through Etsy, and it is Snyder Spindles. Let me grab a card. So yeah, SnyderSpindles.com is only for America. Etsy just does a better job with the international tariffs and all that stuff. trying to think. As far as wholesale people I have in Europe, I think the only people I have currently is in Iceland. Which leads me to another story. Stories are good. So I'm at a festival. I'm at SAF, which is in North Carolina. I'm in Wisconsin, so it's a 14-hour drive or whatever. Regardless. So they were having spinning classes. And there's a girl there who brought in a spindle. That was very similar to this. This is my student one. It's flat. The normal one is thicker and it's all machined out, and it's a cog. And she was showing all of these people this Icelandic spindle that she bought in Iceland, and look at this thing I got in Iceland, and everybody's like, yeah, that's a Snyder spindle. He's actually in the next building over if you want to go talk to him. Which I thought was kind of funny. Yeah, it's been a... Give me a second. How do I want to phrase this? We are purposely staying the size we are. So it's me and my partner, my girlfriend, and we're plenty busy. I don't want to take on employees or any of that. I'm just kind of happy just staying under the radar, keeping busy and doing my own thing. Yeah, I mean, if my bills are paid, I think that's pretty good. So what's the lucette and how does it work? Okay, so let me go grab a lucette. I just grabbed a 3D printed one. So what a loose set does is it makes cord. It makes a square cord. This fan is blowing everything all over the place. Give me a second here. All right. From yarn, yep. So it's basically like a peg loom where you're bringing your yarn through, coming up, pulling it over, and just repeating that. I should have grabbed some bigger yarn. This isn't... it's going to take forever. But, yeah. It'll get prettier in a minute here. So it's similar to an I-cord. It's just square. Yeah, yeah. So... What? Somebody had the heebie-jeebies in the basement. Yeah. Quick, Dion. Dion, she's... She heard somebody coming up the steps, and it wasn't her. It's Casper. I mean... Okay. So I kind of messed up the beginning, but you can see it makes a cord. So it's a ancient Viking tool. I mean, it's all about making stuff stronger. Yeah, you get the idea. If I would have used really thick yarn, I couldn't find my thick yarn. I just had this laying here. Regardless. Yeah, they're friendly, Vicky. Except for the ones that aren't. So yeah, when I was young, we had a spool knitter with like 4 little pegs that stuck up. Basically the same thing. Right? Have you used Turkish spindles before? Granted, we're making Turkish now, but... Hey Dale, how's it going? Welcome in. Hey Francis. It's got F-holes in. So I sold one of these to a cellist that played in the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra, which I thought was kind of neat. So the dust collection is more about collecting the fine sawdust. I try to get like as much of the wood chips as I can to go through there, but it's really not why it's there. Okay, another F-hole. Nice. It's much easier to balance something when it's already balanced. So the balancing is kind of the secret sauce. It's the one thing that we've never shown on streams. Gotta have some mystery, right? Oh, nice. Yeah, so, you know, the Turkish, let me grab one that's wound up. All right, so here's one that I've been spinning on. So you wrap these over 2 arms, under 1, over 2, under 1. You keep repeating that, so you're putting 2/3 on the top, 1/3 on the bottom. But the coolest thing, when you're done, you pull the shaft out, you remove one arm, and then the other. And then you have a center pull ball. So you're all ready for plying. So if you're out and about, you don't need to wind it onto something else. Yes, yes, yes. Yep, you wrap them around the whirl. So DNA asks, so does the spindle get used before or after the dyeing process? Both. Either. So you can dye the roving, you can dye the fiber before you spin it, or you can dye it after you spin it. Either way works. So if you're not a dyer, if you don't like dyeing, you would buy the fiber dyed and then spin it from there. this one into a 7-inch. And I think the reason Vicky got the heebie-jeebies going up the stairs is I have a blower down there. I'm trying to dry out part of the basement, so there's definitely a temperature difference between the basement and upstairs, and you add the air to it. So I have most of my spinning wheels here. I've got an Ashford Elizabeth at home, but they're all kind of mixed. So we got a little Spinolution Polywog there. There's a lot of Frank Frell Mayville wheels. That one, that one, that one, that one. That I need to repair. Then I got a couple little flax wheels as well. So I've got room for a great wheel. But it's like every time I run across one, I don't have room to bring it home. A 7-inch. What's in the tin? This is paste wax, which is no longer pasty, so it's more wax. Hello. So, Woolmakers, that is the original owners of Louette, right? Those are the white ones. Yeah. I used to have Louette S, God, was it a 73? So So it's kind of like an S10, except for it had spoked wheels. So bobbin lead. So had like 8-ounce bobbins on it. So I used it a lot for plying. But yeah, it pulled like a draft horse. Alright, we'll try one more time. I'll get an 8-inch shaft out of this one yet. I win. Yeah, eventually I would like a Majacraft Rose and a Shat Matchless. I love those wheels. What are you doing? Alright, we're going to make one more shaft, and then I'm going to call it a stream. It's just about lunchtime here. And nap time, ironically enough. You know more about wheel preparation and dyeing than wheels? Yeah, I get it. We could talk about indigo dyeing. Do a 7-inch on this one too. Definitely. So traditionally indigo, you know, blue, like blue jeans, they would use urine in the manufacturing process. They did the same thing for tanning as far as leather goes as well. So basically they were using the urea, which is this basic ingredient. The main ingredient is diesel exhaust fluid. I used to work in a vehicle manufacturing facility, and I had to fill up the DEF tanks. And if there was a leak, boy, you would know it. Anyway, so they needed this urea. So if you weren't well off, you would sell your pee, and that would make you piss poor. Now, if you couldn't afford, if you're even poorer than that, you wouldn't have a pot to piss in. That's where those two things came from. And the term spinster originally wasn't an old woman, it was a person who would spin for a living. So it was one of the few vocations a single woman could have. So that's where the spinster came from. Nice. Pretty awesome. All right, guys. Well, it's time for food. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Really appreciate it. If you would like to help support me, you can give me a follow. If not, not a big deal. And I'll catch you guys next time. Have a great day.